and this is our podcast, Diabetically Speaking with SmartMove360. I have to say that today is the last Thursday of the month, and because of this, today we have our special edition. It's called Warriors. Let's go. All right. Just a second. I need to share it to the group. Now we have this special thing in the Facebook that we need to make sure that our Facebook group is receiving this, seeing this podcast as well. Okay, let's go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone back who is listening to us and following us and knows that we are coming live every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And welcome the new people, the ones who just started, who just discovered our podcast. We are already second year on air, so you could find us on YouTube and our Facebook and multiple other places. And today is the last Thursday of the month, and my special guest today is Jeannie Vos. She agreed to be my guest today, and I'm so happy because we will see her again. I'm planning on having more meetings with Ginny. So please tell us about yourself, about your a little bit about your diabetic story. First of all, I have to say Ginny lives in the city next to me, so we probably will meet in person as well. So please tell us who you are, where you are on your diabetic journey.
Okay, well, my name is Ginny, and I do live in the city next to you in Johns Creek. And I am a short timer on this diabetic journey. I've only been on this journey for 8 weeks. And in the beginning, it was extremely scary. I didn't know that I was diabetic at all. I actually went to the doctor because I thought I had an ear infection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the doctor and he asked me because he says, "Well, you don't actually have an infection, but what I'll give you is a steroid that can actually help to ward off an infection. Do you have any problems with being a diabetic?" And I said, "No, not that I know of. Everything's fine." Well, in the interim time, first of all, they took my blood pressure, and it was ridiculously out of whack. It was 159 over 114. And I was like, whoa. And I had never known that it was high or anything else like that. So that happened. And then he asked me about being diabetic. He went out and he was actually able to look in my records and find out that I had taken previous blood tests. And in those previous blood tests, I was pre diabetic. And I didn't know anything about that. I was like, I don't have any idea. And so he came back in and he said, "I think that we better test your blood sugar before I give you this steroid." For those of you who don't know, if you take steroids, that can definitely charge your number up. And it was ridiculous. When they took my blood sugar, it was 302. And so had I taken a steroid, I probably would have ended up in the hospital and not even known or understood what was
Yeah.
going on or what happened. So I kind of drove home in a fog, and I came and I can remember sitting in my chair and just being angry with myself, being disappointed, grieving over the fact that this is it. I'm not going to be able to eat like I've eaten before, and I'm only 52 years old. So I've got to take care of myself. But
Mm-hmm.
for that first few minutes, it was almost like the house is on fire, everything is horrible. And I let myself have that little pity party for myself. And I just let myself be in that fight or flight mode that I was in. and just kind of deal with that. I can remember that in the midst of that, my boss texted me and she was asking me about different questions regarding something with work. And I was giving her the best answer I could, but I wasn't even able to think clearly. And finally, she asked me a question that I couldn't just answer with a yes or no. It was more of a broad, open ended question. And I finally had to say, I can't think straight right now. I was just diagnosed as a diabetic. And that was the first time I actually said it. I'm diabetic to somebody else. And of course, she was wonderful and offered me the resources that she knew about. And we went from there. But then the next day, I started in earnest. I went and I made an appointment that first day to talk to my primary care physician the next day. She and I talked. She immediately ordered the whole blood panel, height, weight, blood pressure, you name it. And so went through all of that. And then 3 days later, I got the message from her saying, we need to talk immediately. Your results came back with an abnormal result. Then you look at this horrible blood panel and everything says out of range, out of range, out of range. And you feel even worse. So, but she got on the phone with me then. I did telehealth with her and she said, we're going to be all right. I'm going to put you on this medication, see what it does. We're going to go with this slowly. She offered me Ozempic right off the bat. And I didn't know all of the controversy about it or anything about it at the time. I was afraid of injections. So then she said, well, then let's try metformin. And that has worked very, very well for me.
Perfect. Perfect. My apologies for my voice. But as they say, the show must go on, so we continue. Well, this is very interesting because you see, in so many cases, people we hear in our Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners, we hear that people are afraid of shots.
Mm-hmm.
They may be afraid of medication, to get on diabetic medication at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they also hear a lot of problems that people may get from taking this medication, this or that medication. And first of all, I'm very glad to hear that for you, metformin didn't cause a lot of problem.
No,
And
my doctor did warn me about that when I started it. She had me start slow with only taking it once a day to make
mhm,
sure that I was going to be okay with it. And she said, reach out if something bad happens. So she and I worked at it very, very slowly.
that's very good. That's very good because I'm glad that your doctor is actually working with you. We
Mhm.
hear so many times when people get this phone call saying them that they are diabetics, that medication is in the pharmacy, and let's schedule the next appointment. That's it.
Mm.
No
No,
instructions, no hard, no nothing. So I'm happy to hear that your doctor actually took time to explain you about different possible outcomes of this medication.
right, right. She was very, very honest with me and told me, this could cause you to have these sorts of side effects. And if you have them, reach out to me right away. She was also kind enough to give me her personal email address. So she said, if you have a question as you're navigating these first few weeks, you feel free to reach out to me.
That's
Mercifully, everything's gone great. I didn't have to, but that was also a nice comfort to know that I could.
absolutely yes. It's always great when you have on your team a medical professional who actually cares enough to give you that much,
Mhm,
personal email address. This is really, really great gesture.
mhm, mhm,
And makes you feel more relaxed and trusting to the professional, right, when you are going through that.
mhm.
Okay, so you said your first number that you heard was 350,
302.
302. So where are you right now? What are your numbers now?
This morning, I took my blood sugar and it was, what was it? 113, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I usually run I mean, well under 120. Last night it was 88. So, in a very short time, with that first month and starting them at Foreman right away, I was able to significantly see it continue to fall. And I just feel incredibly blessed because I see people on the Diabetics 101 website all the time that are like, I'm taking this and nothing's happening. And I just feel so bad for them. And I feel so incredibly blessed that it has happened that way for me. As of this morning, I've lost 12 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And so I just immediately started educating myself. I didn't look for a dietitian or anything like that. That first day after I had let myself have my little bitty pity party, I was like, okay, there's books out there. And so I got the Calorie King book that was going to tell me the nutritional information about absolutely everything, what carbs were there, how much sugar was in everything. And it's got everything from fast food to just grocery stores to whatever. And I have the app on my phone and I really do use that an awful lot. And then I also got another book called The Diabetic Bible. And this lady talked about her own journey, which was so wonderful to hear about somebody else and that she had actually gone into remission.
Mhm.
And she had recipes in there. She had a huge list of nutritional information, things that you should swap out for normal stuff. She had several different pizza crusts in there, and it was just good to hear those sorts of things and to find with that one I was able to see, okay, these are things that I need to be watching for because these could cause me to spike possibly. I didn't know different things cause different people to spike, and I
Yeah.
didn't know what, so I just watched everything. Now that I've gotten my numbers down to a normal level, I'm starting to slowly add things in, and I'm using my monitor, my glucose monitor, to see, does this spike me or not? That was another tip that I got from somebody on the website. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. So I've been doing that.
Definitely, definitely. Education is such important part of getting this diagnosis. Unfortunately, this is something that we all not getting educated enough in school. Just public health, unfortunately, kind of lacking. I don't know the reason why, but we also, as human, we tend to hide from the bad news, right? From bad information. So
Definitely.
something that maybe upset me, I may skip that part of a paper because it sounds not, it's not bringing joy to my life. I will skip that, right?
Right.
So, and as a result, sometimes we are making choices that hurt us instead of helping us. And I'm glad that you become that person who turn to education first thing because this is very important. Probably it helps that you also have your some of your relatives is also diagnosed.
Yes, my father is diabetic. His brother, who passed away a year or so ago, he was diabetic as well. My grandmother was also diabetic. And so there definitely is a genetic component in my family. I think there was a great grandfather as well.
Uh-huh.
But I also got a lot of information. My mom pretty much manages my dad's diabetes. So she's pretty much the first one I call and say, what have you done here? What have you done there? And she has been a wonderful, tremendous advocate for me and just keeps telling me how well I'm doing. And I'm very thankful for her support.
This is great. And this is another side that I wanted to also bring everybody's attention that your family is your first support team because I bring it up again and again. Diabetes is a team sport. You need to have support system with you, right? And when your family is on your side, especially your family, your mother who is educated on it, taking care of your dad. She learned obviously quite a bit.
Mhm.
So she is capable to help you to give you some ideas to recognize the effort, which
Mhm.
is also very very important. That some people sometimes I remember myself in the past I may don't see the effort that my husband would do, because it seems to me normal. It seems to me it's okay. What's the big deal? But
Mhm.
for someone who has to make an effort and push yourself through the specific activities, specific decisions, it's a big deal.
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay, 8 weeks, you are doing very well. You're losing weight, your numbers are staying well. What was your biggest aha moment in this time?
I think it was the fact that exercise really does help to lower that number as well. And I hate exercise, absolutely despise it. So what I did was I did it the lazy way, but it definitely is making a difference. And I can tell from when I do and when I don't. I got myself one of those little bitty pedalers, and I can sit in my easy chair in my living room and I can just pedal. And I pedal for about an hour. And it is amazing to me just how much the number falls on days when I pedal versus days that I don't.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Perfect. Yes, exercise, again, I don't know how did it come to our minds, our human minds. When we talk exercise, we immediately picture those muscular people sweating, doing, raising huge weights or running real fast and really long distances. Exercise, I like to change it to
Yes.
move, whatever kind of movement. My company name is SmartMove360. This
Mhm.
is the reason why you just need to move your body, to
Mhm.
move your arm, to move your leg, to move your body. If you cannot walk, you can do some movements when you're sitting, right? If
Yes.
you cannot run, but you still can walk, for example, you don't sit and have a pity party ongoing. It's actually you need to have one
Mhm.
or once in a while, but don't indulge on it every day. It's
No,
not a good place to be, right?
no.
All
So
right.
yeah, I mean, the other thing is I also try and walk too. I have three dogs. You heard one bark a little earlier. I have three dogs, and so each dog gets a 10-minute walk. And boy, do they love that because they get individual time with me.
Oh
They
yes.
So, and that is kind of a fun thing that I can do that's special for them and makes them feel special too. And it's just another half hour that I've got of exercising. To walk from here over to the back of the complex where there's a nice little lake is, I think, 1,000 steps I checked on my phone one day. So
Oh,
with three dogs, that was 3,000 steps. Boom, within a half hour that
you
I
got it. Yes. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Now I couldn't say that you are not newbie anymore, because there is still a lot to learn and discover, and I know that surprises are inevitable. They will be there, but when you're consistent and you pretty much confident in what you are doing, you know that this is going to uh, get you better, get you in a better place. Yes, sleep-offs are happening here and there. Everyone, we are human. Uh, um, what would be your one suggestions for people who are just receiving this diagnosis? Every day we have someone who's saying, "I just got it today." What?
Yeah. I mean, going back to that first day myself, it was just that whole, oh my gosh, and that whole feeling. What I needed more than anything else that day was somebody to tell me, you're going to be okay and you can do this. I'm very, very attuned to mental health because I'm a professional counselor. And so, the biggest thing that I would share for somebody else who is struggling this way is take notice of the feelings that you're feeling. Yeah, you need to get educated. Yeah, you're probably going to have to change your life. Yeah, it means that you're not going to be able to eat like you used to be able to eat before. You need to grieve that time. You need to grieve the life that you did have before, and really take a minute to say, yeah, this really does stink. And I can be mad and I can be sad and I can, deny that it's happening and possibly give yourself time to do all of that. But don't spend too much time there. Don't spend too much time in that pity party with your house being on fire. Get educated, start, for me, it was finding the Facebook group that I'm so thankful that you founded, because I've learned an awful lot just from that. And I've also been very, very thankful because there's people that are, you can see yourself and you can say, whoa, I'm dealing with some things, but that's way worse, and know that everybody is in this struggle and dealing with something. So let yourself be upset. Make sure to notice the feelings that you're feeling. Educate yourself. Get into a Facebook group. I highly suggest the Diabetics for Beginners 101. And then there was another one that I've got that shows diabetic recipes and things that I found. But just educate yourself, be brave. And for the first time, for me, it was really, really hard to do my blood sugar for the very first time. I'd seen my father do it, but for me to actually have to do it, the first time that I held the metformin in my hand and said, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to do this. I'm actually going to have to take this. Just notice those feelings and kind of ride those waves, and educate yourself and do the very, very best that you can. Remind yourself that if you mess up, that's one thing that's a huge message in the Facebook group, that they're like, if you mess up, get back on that wagon, start again the next day, because the next day is a new day, and it's a new day to make better decisions and better choices. It's going to take a while. Give yourself grace. It's going to take a while to figure out how to do this, but you can do it, and you can be successful, and you can manage this.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, I have another question, the last question. Um, you have your mother
Mhm.
taking care of your father.
Mhm.
She already sounds like she figured it out how to communicate with him, how to get things done in the right way.
Mhm.
So you are in a fortunate situation when she heard what you have, what you've got diagnosed with. She already knew how to respond.
Mhm. Mhm.
What would you recommend to caregivers uh, to, like, one thing that they need to know, to be aware of when they are trying to help their loved ones to manage their diagnosis?
Right. I would say keep a close eye on what that blood sugar is showing, whether you have the CGM, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, continuous glucose monitor. Yeah.
There you go. Whether you've got that or whether you're just doing it with an old fashioned monitor. You told me yesterday, and I think that this is true, and I've started to do it even more since we talked yesterday, was to test that blood sugar and do it a little bit more often. Test before you eat, then test after you eat to find out how much you have spiked. What was it that caused that? And then that can help you to adjust based on that. So for a caregiver, especially who isn't in the body themselves and doesn't exactly know how to take care of it themselves, watch those numbers, especially test the blood sugar, test the blood pressure, because that's another big component to all of this stuff as well. Keep track of those medicines, give them when your doctor wants you to give them. Keep track of what any sort of reactions that they might have. There's a lot of things to manage, and then educate yourself as well. you know, if you have a question, the best place that I go, first of all, is just online. And another place that I go now is to the website with other people. There's an awful lot of caregivers on the website as well, or on the Facebook
Yes.
page as well. And they're like, this is what's happening. My husband's got it. What do I do? And there are always going to be people that will give you opinions, and and ideas and things that you can try. So the best thing that you can do is that knowledge is power, is that you need to educate yourself so that you can better take care of them, and watch what those numbers are saying and watch what does spike it and what doesn't, you know? So
Yeah.
that's the best that I can tell for caregivers, and God bless those people that are out there taking care of other people who have the disease.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, Jeannie, thank you. Before we know it, 25 minutes already passed. So for one thing, will it be okay if our listeners in our Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners, find you and will ask you questions? Is it okay?
Absolutely. I'm not going to be able to give any medical advice because I'm not a doctor, but I can definitely share about the feelings part of it, and I can definitely share what's worked for me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I need to make a couple announcements for the housekeeping. Wanted to remind everyone that on Mondays, I usually go online, and also we have our Monica Henderson going live and talking about it's motivational Mondays, not just quick talk about what on Mondays we're supposed to be looking forward to, right? Then on Tuesdays, we have our Telenurse Tuesday when our registered nurses are answering your questions that you can post under one of those banners, and they will come back at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and answer those questions. Uh, every other Wednesday, we have our support group meetings where our community members coming together in a room, in a Zoom. It's not on the Facebook. And we talk about who has what problem, challenges. Maybe somebody got good results from their doctors and they would just want to share it and cheer up the ones who just got diagnosed. Maybe somebody was maybe not feeling too good, and all of a sudden everything was good and not, everything is not good anymore. So they're sharing their disappointments, and we support them and giving some ideas. We sometimes have our professionals meeting with us there, and it may be dietitians, nutritionists, some doctors, maybe life coaches. They share their information, not share, but they could answer certain questions right away. So you don't need to search far and long. Um, on Thursdays, of course, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we have this not Facebook Live, but it's our podcast, Diabetically Speaking with SmartMove360, where we have our professionals actually answering certain questions about different aspects of life with type 2 diabetes. And again, as today, the last Thursday of the month, we have our Warriors Edition when I invite people who are living with diabetes to share their experiences. So if you would like to share your experience, please don't hesitate to reach out and tell me, hey, can I do the next one? Because I am always happy to have one, two, three people, up to three people in one podcast if I can. On Fridays, we have our Fitness Fridays with Trevor Brown. He is Life-Based Solutions owner, not owner, representing Life-Based Solutions, and he is talking about different movement activities that you can do to help yourself to get in a better shape and bring that movement into your life, right? Not the exercise, but the movement. It could be different for different people, so he gives varieties. One thing I wanted to let everybody know that on Saturday, June 29th, we'll have our Diabetic Healthcare Expo. And this is your basically Diabetes 101 crash course when we are talking about life with diabetes in one day for 6 hours. We will have also the chef cooking for us during the lunch and learn. So these are all the opportunities that we invite you to take advantage of. I wanted to mention our sponsors. It's Mink Life Motivation. on balance entertainment, life-based solutions, and empower people that care. These are the people and companies that are helping us to come to meet with you every Thursday, every other Wednesday, every other month on Saturday to have the expo, and also to bring different other educational activities into the group. So this is it for today. Jeannie, thank you very much for sharing your diabetic story with us, with our group. And I hope that it will help people to know that this is all doable, possible. For some people, it's easier. For some people, not that easy. For some people, it takes longer time. For some people, it's a pretty quick response. We are all different. And that's why I appreciate every warrior who is coming to our show to share their story. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week.